Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back. Welcome back, all you citizens of the world. We're bringing on our first guest now, someone who writes a weekly column that I read every week. This week it was titled Take a Deep Breath. And that could probably apply to a number of things. As we were preparing to record this show today, and we are recording it on Monday, the 1st of July, for the week of January 6th, we get word that the Supreme Court has just made some kind of decision on Supreme Court. They made an immunity for Donald Trump. Don, what do you got on that? I know you've just seen it and you're pondering this just as I am. What do you got?
Well, the decision was not unexpected. We knew when they didn't kick the thing out immediately that they were going to find some kind of immunity, which in some ways makes some sense. There should be immunity for public officials or legislators, presidents for signing bills that people don't like and that may turn out to be bad later. So senators have immunity on certain acts, congressmen do, and the issue is that they have immunity for official acts. Now, this could make some sense if we knew exactly the definition and the subtleties of what is an official act. When he makes a speech about America, about the presidency, and so on and so forth, that should be an official act. He may not be sued there for a libel, let's say. The question is, most importantly, where the line is drawn when it comes to the behavior of the president. Now, I can see some things that would make it would be official acts, but is campaigning an official act? If he steals secret documents, he violates the law there, which he disputes in the first place. But let's say is stealing secret documents, as he did, and take them down to Mar-a-Lago, is that an official act? Just because he did it? I would think not. But I think they would try to debate that issue. Is making a telephone call to the Secretary of State of Georgia, asking him to find him votes, is that an official act? That is not an act of the presidency, and the campaign-related issues should not be. In my mind. So we don't know yet. They may be debating this right now on TV, which I haven't yet seen.
Right after we record this, we'll be jumping all over that TV.
Right.
Let me ask you about the debate. A lot of us went into the debate thinking he'd probably do okay. We, our thoughts had been bolstered a lot by the State of the Union address, where he was pretty good. But of course, that was probably from a teleprompter. As an older guy myself, and I look up to you as even being an older guy with a lot of knowledge,
Biden's a punk kid in my book.
Yes, he's younger than me, but I always was a little pained watching him walk, and thinking, I know what that's like a little bit, the pull of the bend over for older guys. So we watched the debate and it was horrific. What was your take?
Well, it was a horrendous performance all the way, in part in large part, in my mind, because it lasted virtually through the whole 90 minutes. He not only had a major stumble where he lost his total train of thought and so on, but he couldn't come up with information that he has had at hand before. He couldn't respond to some of the lies and call them out. He couldn't fill up all of his time. He had 42 seconds left at one point and just said nothing. It indicated something worse than those traditional stumbles that the guy has had because of his stutter, because, forgetting something at the moment, which we can all do. We've been forced to apologize many times for some of his stumbles and stutters, which the Republicans try to make him into a doddering old man. Now, my question is, before going, further, how badly is he behind the scenes? We've been told for a long time that even though he may forget a point here or there, he is fully engaged. Everybody, including Dr. Fauci not long ago, just a couple of days ago, said that he's there. He's asked the right questions. He's made the right decisions. He's totally with it. Now, I've heard some discussion that he may have what they call sundowners syndrome, which means he's fine and rational in the morning and in the course of the day, and he begins to lose it late and into the evening. That's, a piece of speculation. Now, I don't know whether we've been lied to by people inside the White House and the Democratic National Committee about how rational he is. We know he does well and has done well scripted. We talked about the State of the Union speech. And ironically, even the very next day after this horrible performance, he was able to get up with a full voice, not that gravelly, sort of straining voice that he had here, and make the statement that might work. That I had a bad night. Everybody knows that I'm not a young man. I can't debate as well as I used to. I make this and that mistake. I can't walk as well as I used to, et cetera, et cetera. But I do know certain things. I know truth from fact. I'm paraphrasing here. I know how to tell the truth. I know how to do this job, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that also makes sense, but we still have this unanswered question that bothers the hell out of me. And I don't know whether we will get an honest answer here. If there is some form of dementia going on, we ought to know about it. Of course, I would take a Biden with dementia over Trump any day, so that's hardly it for me. But that is the issue that they could run on. Because if it becomes a referendum on Trump, as it seems to be, people are likely to forgive a bit, but we don't know. We just really don't know. If he has bad days that are something like this, that could be dangerous, although he has good people around him. Somebody says, what if, an international crisis occurs on a bad day? well, his subordinates will have to take charge, and often they would anyway. The president does not make all his decisions alone, and does not execute everything alone. So it's really thought-provoking. Everybody, or I can't say everybody, but the great majority of the people I respect as analysts, as commentators, as politicians, think that he should get out.
I was going to ask you about a couple of people, like Ezra Klein in the New York Times has really hit heavy early on about Biden should bow out and taken a lot of heat for that. I read another guy named Simon Rosenfeld, who I didn't know much about, but he basically—
Rosenberg, I think it is, isn't it?
Rosenfeld is what I've got here from Hopium Chronicles. And he basically said it's an important time. We need to keep grinding, discussing, fighting together. Biden released a new ad, started running today. It's a very good ad. And it's like what you said, when you get knocked down, you get back up. And I know right from wrong. Then he says, this ad is a reminder that while we can debate our future as a party, the campaign goes on. Money has to be raised, events planned, ads cut, arguments made, canvassing, organizing, calls made. Early voting starts in 10 weeks. The campaign goes on. We cannot let up for 1 minute, for we are not fighting for Joe Biden or any other candidate. We are fighting each day for our democracy, our freedom, our future. We are fighting each day for all of us. Your thoughts?
Well, I fully agree on that. And I have another question. Before I make up my mind firmly, and it's rare that I don't have a firm opinion, as you know from reading me, the issue before us also is how and who do we replace him with? We seem to take it for granted that any Democrat could win, but throwing this to an open convention has terrible dangers. If you have an open convention, all little splits in the Democratic Party, from the big one over Israel, Gaza, to a number of other racial issues, et cetera, they all get fought out on the floor. It could be very chaotic. We could have a totally chaotic convention and come up with somebody who may or may not be able to win. We just don't know. It's not a sure thing. Now, if it becomes necessary for him to drop out for one or another reason, particularly if he does in fact have some form of dementia, and we're not ready to say that yet, but it's possible, the Democratic National Committee and the important people in the party have to get together before the convention to thrash it all out and get some agreement on who they will nominate at the convention when Biden releases his delegates. They did this before. This is, we're going back to the old bosses nominate the candidate. They did this before 4 years ago when Biden was losing all of his primaries and South Carolina was coming up, where we were pretty sure because of Jim Clyburn that he would be able to capture South Carolina, show that he could get the black vote. And they got all of the other candidates running in that primary to drop out within, I think, 3 days. If I remember right, it was a Saturday that Trump won South Carolina. Sunday, I think Buttigieg and maybe Klobuchar dropped out. Monday, a couple of more people dropped out. So that was a boss-decided victory. And it's necessary to avoid all the chaos and bad things that can happen at the convention for the party to make such a move quietly before the convention happens. Can they do that? Can they get away with it these days? Can they come up with a serious decision? These are all things that tell me it may be easier to continue with a handicapped Biden than to take somebody new. I can't answer that question for you.
Well, we're going to stay tuned to that, and I'm sure we'll be back to you. Let's. We got a couple of minutes left, and you and I are both veterans of the 1968 convention, and there was a lot of havoc in the streets. I got photographed trying to tip over a paddy wagon. I repeat, we didn't get it over, but I got a lot.
Your most famous worldwide photo.
I know, and I'm getting a few calls now for interviews, but I started thinking about, on one hand, I said to myself, and I've said it to others, I think we were responsible for Nixon winning. But then I thought, well, the police really went overboard and acted out when they first came into Lincoln Park, when the MC5 was about to play on that truck. They spread the tear gas, and it led to a big, massive rebellion. And someone else pointed out to me, but yeah, the city was on alert because Abby Hoffman was going to dump LSD in the water. So I don't know who takes responsibility for the winning or losing of that election, but I'm wondering what your take is on the way the city is dealing with demonstrations, and there will be demonstrations from the left to the right, probably, as well as up in Milwaukee, which I saw a number of people saying, let's go to Milwaukee, big demonstration up there when the Republicans meet.
Well, the city up to now has not responded well or set things up well. As you know, they have given the protest groups routes that would take them 2-3 miles away from the convention center and from McCormick Place, where the delegates are also. The ACLU has worked out something and given a nice visible parade route, negotiated it with the city. And the question now is, to what extent will the city set up an adequate protest area the way Richie Daley did in '96? The question then is, if and when that is violated, what do the police do? I'm a little fearful that some of these groups, particularly the Palestinian, so-called pro-Palestinian group, may want to make even more trouble. We don't know, and that could also be dangerous in itself.
Well, you got any take on the French elections coming up?
It's possible, it's feasible to defeat the far right on this. They got 34%. And if they can get everybody else together who still understands the dangers, they can outnumber them. But it may be very close. If you start with 34%, you've got two groups within the 20% range. Getting together is very difficult. But it's possible, and the French have often come through surprisingly well out of situations like that. So I'm worried, but not agonized.
All right, I got one more for you. I know you're a great sports fan, and speaking of downtown and demonstrations, what's your take on the NASCAR race that's going to happen next weekend, or this weekend, I believe, when the show starts airing?
Well, I've never been a fan of that sport, and if it goes by without incident, it's, bringing a lot of money into the city. So I think it needs it. If it was to make this choice in the very beginning, I'd say, hell no, don't do it. But we managed to survive it last time. And if it goes smoothly, okay, ain't to my taste. And it inconveniences a lot of people, but not a skin off my hide.
I don't know how much time we have left, but I'm going to throw in something I meant to ask you earlier. In addition to the presidential election, we also have some people up for the Senate and many people up for the House everywhere. And, we talk a lot on our side about progressive side about, we need to hold the Senate and we need to take back the House. Your thoughts on that real briefly?
I think we can take the House. And I believe at the moment that we can keep the Senate. The problem is it'll be a 50-50 Senate, and then it depends on who is the president, because the vice president would be the tiebreaker there. So it's all tied together, and even with the 50-50 Senate, if Trump gets in, we're dead in the Senate.
Okay, Don Rose, thanks an awful lot.